Hello, this is, I believe, Paranormal Investigation story number 6. This one is from Skipton Castle and Bolton Abbey. We did the both in one day. We had arranged to meet up in Skipton. I didn't know we were going to the castle. I just thought we were meeting up in Skipton just to enjoy the day out. But we ended up going into the castle, and it was a bit of a stealth investigation because it was open to the public and there were quite a few people wandering around, making it difficult to do anything, to be fair. On entering Skipton Castle, there's a big sign on the towers which says Désormais, which apparently means henceforth, for whatever reason. And Skipton Castle is now in the ownership of the Fattorini jewellers family, and they still live in half of the castle, so there's only half of it actually open to the public. It's a great building, to be fair, and well worth visiting. Skipton's a beautiful little market town in North Yorkshire, and if you've never been, it's well worth having a look round. Some beautiful shops, great pubs, restaurants, etc. It's a good place to be. On entering the castle, we went down onto the kind of ground floor. And on the ground floor there was nothing really to report. I didn't sense anything, didn't feel anything. The energy in there was quite flat. We did wander around and then decided to move up to the next floor. And on this particular floor, we entered a room and I was instantly made aware of a gentleman standing by the window. He had a shirt with frilly cuffs and frills all down the front. He had a waistcoat and a top coat, and he was basically dressed brown. It was brown in colour, and he was peering out through the window down to the lower floor. And on this lower floor, in the courtyard outside, there was an old church or chapel, and this particular gentleman, who later revealed himself to be known as the Earl of Thanet, was looking out because he'd fallen in love with a young girl called Anne, and he was looking for her coming out of church so he could blow her a kiss or wave or whatever he did. And the year 1639 came to mind. Whilst this was going on, one of the investigation team was checking on the internet by mobile phone, and the Earl of Thanet, 1639 and Anne all existed. So again, it was good confirmation for me that I wasn't just talking gibberish and nonsense. On leaving there, we went down a spiral staircase which led into what was known as the dungeon area. And after a short while I became aware of a female presence. She was around 60 years old, and her name was Elizabeth Trent. And Elizabeth had been caught in the witch trials and accused of witchcraft, where of course today she'd be known as a herbalist or a village wise woman, where people went for the remedies, etc, etc. She was left alone in this condemned cell, and the miserable existence which she had in a cell, no light, no windows, just waiting for the day that they would come and take her out. And Elizabeth said to me that she was actually led to water and she never returned. Now, on checking the Skipton history, unfortunately we weren't able to find anyone called Elizabeth Trent. However, on the perimeter of the castle there was a ducking stool where witches were tried and drowned, and for many, many years now people have actually witnessed the apparition of this old woman walking around the watercourse, and she has actually been given the nickname of Water Witch. So something went on, something is there, and to this day I still believe that I saw and heard Elizabeth Trent. And Elizabeth, unfortunately, is grounded there because of the horrible way that she died at the hands of ungodly men who professed to be of God. The other two, the Earl of Thanet and Anne, they were both residual energy. As we've said before, residual energy is like just a replay of an event in time. Something's been rewinded on a tape and you're allowed to watch it back over and over and over again. Nothing more sinister than that. You see what you see, they are unaware of you because they're not there. You are just watching a point in history. From there we went to a place which, if I remember rightly, was called the Norman Battlement area south. And in this particular part of the castle there were slits in the stonework where archers would fire the bows and arrows at anyone attempting to breach the castle. And I became aware of a spirit there called Edwin Calvert. And what was most surprising about Edwin was that he was incredibly small, yet he was kind of the commander-in-chief of the soldiers at Skipton Castle. And again, at this point, one of the team members checked on Google and they found that Edwin Calvert actually did exist, and he was very short in stature, which is what I picked up. And apparently his grave to this day shows Edwin Calvert, the smallest man in the world. And while we were there in one of the turrets, I became aware of him being there, and also the feeling of intense pain in my chest. And I do believe to this day that Edwin actually died with an arrow through the heart. Someone was such a good shot to get it straight through the slit and hit him. He was 17 years old when he died. Again, this has also been verified, so I know that I wasn't talking rubbish. It wasn't just fanciful thoughts again. We went back downstairs and we wandered round again, and we decided to call it a day. Enough was enough, too many people around, not enough privacy, etc, etc. Dawn came to me and she said, "Here, I'll give you the postcode of the next location." And I said, "Don't worry, I don't need it. I'll see you at Bolton Abbey." To which Dawn replied, "You bugger, how did you know that?" And I just said, well, maybe it's because I'm psychic. Who knows? Anyway, the drive to Bolton Abbey was quite interesting through beautiful countryside. And we arrived at the Abbey, and there were still a few people mingling around. So we kind of mingled with them and waited for them to go. And as one by one they left, we started to do an investigation. The Abbey is basically in ruins, which it was run by, I think, a group called the Augustinian nuns. Monks, sorry, not nuns. The Augustinian monks. And at that point we did make a joke about it, that they were known as the Brothers of Perpetual Indulgence, a paralytic order who were often seen in Bolton area, drunk, etc, etc. It was quite an amusing thought at the time. The Brothers of Perpetual Indulgence. How wonderful. Anyhow, as we walked round, we came to the main chancel area of the Abbey. And looking out towards where the high altar would have been, I became aware of what I can only describe as the outline of a monk. And why not? I'm in an abbey. There seemed to be a figure at the side of where the high altar once stood. And several of the group members said that they could hear Gregorian chant, again, which is no surprise really, if your mind is actually downloading and processing images from the past and the sounds. As we have mentioned before about the stone tape theory, where the fabric of the building contains the memories, and our human minds are allowed and able to download these images and noises, and that's how it all happens. I spoke with Joan, one of the investigators, and I said, can you see the monk there at the side of the high altar? To which she replied, no, but I can hear the chanting. Which was quite interesting because Joan was kind of a seeker, a searcher for the afterlife, who really wanted to know what was going on. We moved around, walked around the perimeter of the Abbey, and there were a few surprises with bats flying about, etc, etc. And then we came to like a courtyard area, which I suppose like a car park, and there was a doorway within a wall which let through into the Abbey again. And there I saw the figure of a monk dressed in black, quite clear to me that he was there actually looking back at us. Again I said to Joan, can you see this black figure here in the doorway? Joan looked and she said yes, she believed that she could see this monk. He vanished from view. So after seeing that we were all a bit excited, and we decided to pursue the matter further, and we said, if there is anybody there, please can you show yourself? And we saw nothing. The opening was clear straight through into the Abbey again. And then someone, I believe it was Dawn, called out, is there anybody here? And if so, can you please make a sound? And at this point we did hear a sound, a most ethereal sound. And I won't embarrass anybody by mentioning their names, but at this point, as soon as Dawn had said, can you please make a sound, Joan farted. Which of course ended up with everybody erupting into laughter, because come on, there's nothing funnier than a fart. Everyone enjoys them, schoolboy humour, etc, etc. But it really was. The timing was perfect. The silence was there. The moon was in the sky. We're waiting for something, and what do we hear? Joan. Hi Joan. I hope you don't mind me saying that. But after that, of course, the night was getting long, it was getting dark, and we decided to call it a day. But overall, it was a very interesting day. Skipton was beautiful. The castle was very interesting. Bolton Abbey was just another amazingly beautiful part of North Yorkshire. And the end with Joan was absolutely superb. So I'll leave you on that note. And the next one we do will be of a private house we did in Bradford. which was possibly the most interesting and exciting investigation that I personally have ever been involved in. So I'll leave you on that note. Namaste. Take care, stay well and look after yourselves. Thank you for listening.